All right, it's August 13th, Saturday. We've cooled down. There was some rain in the area last night. It's actually comfortable in the garage. Derek's going to be bleeding his power steering fluid. And I think he has a couple of parts left that he's waiting to come in to mount the front bumper cover on. I'm going to pull the last of the suspension pieces out of here, out of the derusting bucket. I'm sure they're all good, just as we would expect. And the pieces from last week are back there in the corner just past the bumper cover. So I'm going to try to get those into epoxy tomorrow, along with these. And then I'm going to see if I can scrub down the cage, the IRS cage, with red Scotch-Brite, and I'm going to try acetone to see if that'll strip the paint off, and wax and grease remover. See if we can get to work it. Unfortunately, Home Depot doesn't carry aircraft stripper, which I think would get it, but we have to go out to an auto parts store later on. Thought this was interesting. The pulled these out, scrubbed them, and in the sink, and then took them and blew them off with a air hose. But the humidity, because we got there were showers and stuff in the area last night, was such that they flash rusted. So what I'm going to do, you see a little bit there, got the goldy color there. So they've already been scrubbed, so I'm just going to dip them back in there. Probably about 15 minutes should be all it'll take. Then I'll take them in one at a time, rinse them off, and paper towel them dry, and then put them in the convection oven to do that final dry. That should keep the flash rust from forming.
What's left in there is all like food.
Yep. No flash rusting. Alright, I'm done for the day. I got them all cleaned up. What I ended up using was odorless or low odor mineral spirits, and wiped it all down, so that way any of the undercoating would have gotten cleaned up. I'm not sure if I'm gonna whip out the sandblaster and shoot them all off or not. Wouldn't be till next week because it's too humid out to get dry air through my system. And I used a paddle bit and stirred up the epoxy primer that I'm going to use on the half shafts and whatnot. Those things over there. I want to get those coated tomorrow. The other ones are still in the oven, but the oven's shut off, and they're just going to cool down, and then I'll bring them out without touching them. So tomorrow's just going to be epoxy priming, and I think that's it. I think it's time to start putting together my order list for the 3 seals for that guy, and all the little 632 bearings. And well, I got the seals. That's one thing I should do, is look to see what seals that I did get. Trying to figure out which end of the wishbones that they go in. Actually, I can probably put those wishbones in the soaker tank. They just have a little bit of surface rust. Should be cleaned up by tomorrow. Yeah, it's quite after or 2:30. I checked the A-arm that's soaking and it's pretty much rust free. I went and just wiped off the black deposits that I could see, which is where the rust goes, with my hand, and figure I'll leave it in there for probably another hour, and then I'll throw this one in for a couple hours, and then they'll be ready to go into the oven, and then to dry off on convection mode at 200 degrees. And then got the parts out of the oven, and they're all nice and rust free. Here's the stuff from last week, or is it 2 weeks ago now? Lose count. But they're all ready for primer, so that'll be the plan tomorrow. All right, Sunday, August 14th. I had the other A-arm cleaned. It's derusted. It's in the oven in the convection at 200. And then I needed to transfer the evaporust from this flat tray, which worked for the A-arms, back into the bucket. And so I was going to use one of my pumps, Little Harbor Freight $14 specials that I used for evaporusting the inside of the sills, and it wouldn't start up, and so I took off the filter end and used a little proddy thing to turn the impeller a little bit, and then powered it back up, and it started to go, but not very fast. And I think what happened is I didn't rinse it after evaporusting, and so the evaporust, which seems to be made out of molasses, I think gummed it up. After a while it flowed and it emptied it out, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm rinsing this one since I have it down. And a good note for the future, I don't think that the Esprit has that problem because it didn't leave the sticky residue like the evaporust does. Alright, I got all these pieces epoxy coated. Just let that cure for a couple days, probably on Wednesday. I'll coat them with glossy black implement paint.